Hello. So I had major connection issues last week, so I'm hoping it works from here and we don't have to do 3 tries with this. But I want to speak today about leadership, what makes a leader, and also bring that into kind of the whole dating scene and spectrum and finding our partners in life, and a lesson that is also related to leadership. So in the Torah portion of Pinchus, this week's Torah portion, we learned something really powerful, that Moses appoints Yehoshua ben Nun to be his successor, to be the leader that is going to follow him. And if you look at his name, ben Nun, like the son of Nun, Nun is one of the letters in the Hebrew alphabet. It is numerically equivalent to 50, and we have like the idea of the 50 gates of understanding, and this concept of 50 being connected to really getting people, understanding ourselves, understanding others, understanding the world at large. And the letter Nun, every letter is also a word, and Nun means a fish. And it's actually kind of representative of somebody who's really holy, who's really righteous. The term tzaddik is connected to that of the fish, and the idea being that the fish can only survive in the water, and the eyes of the fish are always open. So the idea that water is symbolic for Torah and for that idea of holiness, and that the righteous one is always in need, like their air, so to speak, is that of holiness and is that of everything positive, and that their eyes are always open. They're always looking. It says we have 2 eyes, one that looks inward, one that sees the world around us, and that is what the righteous ones are always doing. But what's interesting is that Nun, when it's spelled as a word meaning fish, it's a regular Nun, which looks like this, the letter Vav, hey, Yisrael, and a final Nun, which is just a long, straight line that represents like this idea of the fallen one, the one that's completely, just completely dropped. It even refers to it as like the miscarried soul. And the letter Vav, the middle letter, is that of connection. Vav grammatically is one of conjunction. Ani ve'at, me and you. It looks like a hook. The word Vav means a hook. It's all this idea of what is being hooked together. And it's the first Nun with the final Nun, which is like the fallen one. And yet as a word, it means fish, and it's representing righteousness. And so the message is, who's the leader who's going to succeed? Yehoshua ben Nun. Yehoshua, the son of Nun. And what is Nun? It's the person who can connect to everyone, who sees himself or herself in everyone, who realizes that we should never be haughty. We should never think that we're so much better, so much higher, so much holier, so much more advanced than someone else, that ultimately we're all connected, and that when we see it in a circle, the fallen one is directly next to, the regular one. And, that all together, we need to feel that connection to everyone. We need to be able to have a relatability, to have true empathy, to have the ability to be unified as a whole. And, so that's, if you're going to be a leader, if you're going to have impact, if you are going to be an influencer, if you're going to be able to speak to others, you need to connect. There needs to be relatability, and there needs to be this lack of judgment where it's like, I can really get you, and I can accept you, and I can understand that part of you, and I can relate to that even if I'm not there right now. And also that message to the one who's feeling fallen and feeling depleted and feeling that they're at like the lowest point and the worst of the worst, that it can turn around instantaneously. They are not stuck there. They are not limited to that, and that they're connected, that the most righteous one is connected to them and cares about them and relates to them and understands them and wants to help them. So how does all of this then connect to dating? So very often there can be a lot of judgment, especially, in the dating world about, well, what's somebody's background like? And, I heard that when they were younger, they did this or they acted like this. And people really focused on one's past as opposed to where one's at and where one's headed, right? And, this idea that we want to be future focused. It shouldn't be that I'm going to hold against you everything you were and every way you behaved and everything you did and the mistakes you made, but rather those created, the education and the basis for who you are now. And if you took the lessons from them, you're going to move forward in so much of a healthier, more positive way. And to clarify, I'm not saying that you date somebody on who they will become, very much who they are presently, but who they want to become and what they are aspiring towards and inspired by, and what those goals are should also be what we're looking forward to, where we want to be headed. So what do we see from Yehoshua ben Nun? Who is he married to? None other than Rachav, who is a convert to Judaism, and her previous employment history, not too flattering, was a very successful and well-known prostitute. So here we have the leader of the Jewish people who is married to an ex-prostitute. And that idea that, yes, that was her past. Yes, that is what she did. Yes, that is, how she behaved and who she acted, but it wasn't who she truly was. And when she was exposed to truth and to holiness and to, what inspired her and who she aspired to be, she changed her entire life around, and she committed to, completely transforming and shifting her behaviors and her thought and her speech and her actions. And she converted to Judaism, and she ended up both meriting, and it was a mutual merit, to marry the future leader of the Jewish people with Yehoshua ben Nun. And he likewise saw that here was somebody who would be able to relate and get people at all different stages in their development and in their life and their past and where they've been. And he wasn't judging and holding against her and holding her accountable for every mistake she made, but rather seeing, look at who you wanted to be and look at what you overcame to become who you are now. And together, that's how they moved forward. So with that, we're all leaders. We all have those leadership abilities and skills within us. We all lead in different aspects of our lives. So this has to be pertinent to all of us. So to remember that, that nun, that ability to be a leader and to be righteous, is the ability to simultaneously connect and recognize and have empathy towards and have the ability to really get people who are in all different places in their lives, and to not hold against one and judge them by who they were and what their past is, but to recognize that we all have the ability to change, and that who we are now is what we need to focus on, with looking forward to who we all hope to become. So with that, you should have a great Shabbos, and hello Sarah and Yisrael, I'm so happy you're still on, and I'm looking forward to doing that Shabbaton with you in a few weeks. Have a great Shabbos, and we'll be in touch next week. Bye.